So yeah, first of all, I wanted to just kind of touch on commissioning and the fact that with SOLI, with my group, at this point, after 27 years, we've actually commissioned over 100 pieces.
That's incredible.
Exciting, yeah. I mean, kind of making it a medium and being a part of your lives, you know, of helping composers realize their dreams and create new pieces for us. But I wanted to talk a little bit about how this process happened, because as a co-commissioning project, there are a lot more people involved, and kind of how this piece came about being.
Well, it happened because of Steve at Northwestern. He happened upon my sonata. I don't know if you know my sonata.
Heard it. I haven't played it. Sorry.
He heard John Ye play it, and then he played it. And I went to his recital, of course, because it's in town. And I was just like, holy cow, you know, shame on me. I don't know how good everybody in the clarinet world is. And I just, you know, when he started playing, he's like, whoa, that's a really great sound. And he just did stuff with my piece that were really special. And then I was just talking to him afterward, and I honestly don't remember if I said or if he said, but one of us said, hey, it'd be fun to do something, you know? And maybe he said, what would it take to do a solo clarinet piece? Because he had some recitals coming up. And then I think I mentioned to him the whole idea of getting other people on board, because I've done that with several projects. And he was all about that. And he was like, oh, that sounds great. And so that's how that piece came to be. The name has nothing to do with anything other than I just thought it was a cool name. I don't want to burst any like mysteries with that one. What's Double Dog Dare? I just heard it someday. I was like, hey, that's a fun name. I should use that for a piece someday. So that's how Double Dog Dare came to be.
Well, and that's a perfect segue into, you know, the title of this concert is going to be Through the Eyes and Lens of the Beholder. And it fits so perfectly into Double Dog Dare because, as you say perfectly in the preface, you know, it's in a sense, if to bend it to a reality, it's a dare to all of us to see how we can interpret. So the audience is really seeing it through the lens of the performer. So yeah. Each one of us, in a sense, you give us permission not to play it this way, you know? Yeah. There's a lot of freedom within the piece. There's a lot of freedom within the piece to do that.
That's what we composers love, is when you guys take a piece and make it your own and do stuff that we would never even imagine, as you know. Which is funny, because I wish I would have known that when I was a performer. Like back when we knew each other back, you know, however many years ago, I don't want to think about it. But, you know, it was just like, oh, this is what the composers put on there, and I got to play it this perfectly imagined way that maybe I've heard on a recording or whatever. And I don't think I ever, you know, I like to think I was a musical player, but I don't ever remember challenging myself enough maybe to take things to the limit. Like, hey, how could I do this that nobody else has thought of? And now I know on the flip side, as a composer, I love it when people are very imaginative and take chances. And
that's wow. And so few people have the opportunity to be on both sides like you. I mean, that's really to the talent level, to the scale that you've been. You know, some people may dabble in composing, or, you know, dabble in performance, or they've become more a composer than they were a great trumpet player like you. But, you know, to have both of those realities, to have been able to push yourself as a musician, and I don't want to say and not to have done it, but to what you're saying, you know, there is a little bit of wistfulness to that. Yeah. I wish I had the page right here so everyone could see the list of clarinetists that signed on to do this. And you're right. I mean, co-commissioning is such a great idea, because, you know, in commissioning in our world, you know, this is truly paying a composer to create, the freedom to not worry about how am I going to eat or live while I do this, and paying you to just create. But when you have a co-commission, you have all of these people. How many were there in total?
I could look. Oops, I just lost you. Right.
Not to put you on the spot, but I mean, it's got to be 30, 40 people.
Yeah, I think it was something like that. I could look it up if we had time, but
Okay. But so if you commission a work, that's one performance, maybe the commitment of 3 or 4 performances, but by the same ensemble initially.
right.
But with a co-commissioning project, you've got 30, however many people there were potentially to
Yeah,
have.
no, it's cool. And then you hopefully get that many different, as we've talked about, styles of interpretation
Yeah, absolutely.
and so often these things, you build relationships with people, which is what is the most exciting part for me, when people reach out and say, hey, this, that, and sometimes it leads to another project. But for me, it's not about, obviously we need to make money, but that's not the thing. It's about, as you said, life is short, and just getting to know people and being able to do things together, and things you don't expect to happen, and
Right.
just go on new. My career has been one trail that always just keeps turning, and then going this way and then going this way, and you think it's going to go this or whatever way, and it just keeps shifting to something new, especially these days. But I guess that's what makes it interesting.
Yeah. What I love is the fact that, and I mean, this is just where it leads my ear, but here it is going to be October 25th. And I hear so much spookiness and a lot of, I mean, the build up. I love the way that you've really mastered the simmering pot concept.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? Where it's just like, there's even one part where it feels like it naturally would build, and yet you're keeping the performer at a piano at a soft dynamic, and then finally it gets to verse. So there's this intensity kind of growing through that moment until finally where it just kind of starts spinning out of control.
Yeah.
And your use of, so many people are afraid of using multiphonics, and in past discussions, we talk about, using more than one note on a string instrument is one thing. It's so pretty, it has these overtones and things. Not so much sometimes on the clarinet. And you use this in such a body out of control, finally at the end of the road, the horror is here, it really has achieved that.
Yeah, it's interesting because when I got there, I just, I wanted to go crazy. I wanted to be like, there's just nothing else to play on the instrument. And so that's why, which, by the way, you play whatever fingering notes you want. I'm not an expert on multiphonics. I don't even know. I think I looked it up and somebody said, put these fingers down. I don't even know what I did, but because I remember Steve said, how do I play this? He wasn't sure. I just said, just do something, make it contorted. It's like we're out of sounds we can achieve at this point. You should just be crazy, and Halloween is a good way to, what's that?
It's just a scream.
Yeah, exactly.
There's nothing. I was listening, total aside, Eddie Van Halen. I was listening to David Lee, a piece, I don't even remember the piece, but I heard something I've never heard before in David Lee Roth's voice, of these partials. I mean, I don't know how, somehow it's like he achieves these, you have to go listen. I mean, we're so strange. And I don't know if it's intentional or if it's just the quality of his voice, but I thought something I had heard made me think, that's what that kind of range, that kind of scream. So yeah, I've got a piece of Robert Cogan's that I did many years ago back at NEC. I really explored. I was kind of ready to do my dissertation after my undergraduate on multiphonics, which no one ever should have to read.
No, if they're going to play my piece, then they can. So you have no problem finding how to make some.
No, I've got a really awesome screamy one now. Knock on wood. Having said that, I do have to hit it 4 or 5 times. So yeah, but it's obvious. I mean, you're a great composition author. What you want is very clear on the page. You know what I mean? Sometimes, and there's something to be said for a composer leaving room for suggestion or for opinion, added the voice of the performer. But then it's also good to know what a composer wants, Yeah,
it wasn't always that way. When I first started composing, I really felt like, oh, come on, it's, I'm putting the music out there. It's the performer's job to really know what I want. They should be able to figure it out. They should study the piece and, blah, blah, blah. And then, experience taught me that maybe it might be helpful if I give some more hints and then, at least let's get closer to the end result. And then if they have questions about things, we can talk about it.
Ah, the joy of a living composer. Is that ever a frustration though, too, when you don't feel people have gone as far as they can?
Sure. Yeah. Because I think probably all of us composers, we do put a lot of nuggets in our music. We do put a lot of Easter eggs, right? Little hidden secrets, and we can sense right away if people have dug deep to find them. And so, yeah, it's very rewarding when we get to experience those situations where people have come that halfway and they meet us, and then we can go to a new place with a piece of music. So yeah, sometimes it's frustrating, but not always.
There's the optimism that we need, Thank you, Jim. This has been so fabulous.
Yeah, awesome to reconnect.
I know.
What's the actual logistics? You're gonna record the video of the performance and then put it out there? And it's a half live performance kind of thing?
It'll be live for the audience. We were hoping to live stream, but there are just so many moving parts with this brand new space, distancing, trying to figure out. And to have all the bodies with all the cameras that we needed, we would want to have to do a live stream. It's just not feasible. So this is kind of our test run, but we have a recording engineer, so we will be recording it. You would know the mic stuff, I'm sure, but I don't remember the name. I suppose he uses Nyman's. He uses good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But we'll be outside, so there's a water feature, as they call it. I just call it a fountain, but that makes some ambient noise. So John Cage would be pleased, but it'll have some, there's maybe a plane we're hoping, but yeah. And maybe we could even do some Facebook live streaming stuff and things like that, but I'll let you know as we get closer.
Okay.
I know, I wish, like we typically do, having feet on the ground, in a real world, to have you here talking with the audience and sharing, it's so much what makes us tick. And being able to play for you. I mean, if you want, do you want to hear it beforehand? I'll
leave that up to you.
Okay.
Totally your call. Selfishly, I love hearing my music when anybody wants to play it, but that's your call. So.
Okay. Well, I'm actually going to get a first run at it this coming Sunday. We're going to play. David, my husband's a cellist in our group, and we're going to go. He's going to play the Stephen Stuckey solo piece that he's playing, and I'm going to play your piece and chat with just at the Botanical Garden. There's always people milling about on this Sunday, and so we're going to go just kind of do a teaser. So I'll get a dry run out of that. So
technically, how will you handle all the soft stuff knowing that you'll be outside?
As it comes, I'm just going to have to see. That's kind of why the 18th will be nice. There'll be people chatting and talking, but yeah, whether it's kind of, doing some things with my bell to try to, project the sound a little bit more. But I know that was initially something I thought of as you have the spectrum, like you said, between dynamics and emotions and range. It covers everything, but we'll just have to see how that. I know. But the great thing is it's an unaccompanied piece, which means have peace, will travel, right?
Right, exactly.
I had just premiered a piece of Shulaby Rand's, actually, that she wrote for Laura Flax after she died, clarinet player. And they'd been childhood friends, and I flew up to Chicago and played for her, and then we went to Italy the following spring or the following summer, and I promised her that the piece would go international within its first year. And so it was perfect because it was just me, the morning before we flew out, I just went down to the little piazza. David had his phone and I filmed it right then. And these guys are looking at me. And I packed up and off we went. So perfect. Yeah, that's the great thing about a solo piece.
Yep. All right. Well, then I expect mine will be done in Italy as soon as we can travel.
Exactly. That's the great part. Wow. Thank you so much. Did you get what you need, Anne?
I'm good.
Okay.
I forgot to make sure you could hear me or not, because I know sometimes I mumble and I speak with this low, soft voice. And sort of,
No, no, it was great. It was great. I've got you pinned and yeah, well,
Lots of good stuff. Yeah.
great.
And we'll obviously we'll send you this link too. Program notes will go out a day, 2 days before, because there won't obviously be a physical program. That's why we really wanted to do this, so we could create this virtual experience. So we'll share this with you too, so you've got it.
Great.
And yeah.
Okay.
Oh my gosh, it's so good to see you.
Great to see you. We'll hopefully the next time will be before. How many years have actually passed since?
Oh my gosh. When did you graduate? 89?
90.
You graduated in 90. Yeah, I graduated. Yeah.
Spring of 90. So, you know, just 30 years ago.
Oh my gosh. It's incredible. Okay, Anne gets it. You know, when you say it around, we call them the kids in the orchestra. You know, when you talk, oh, I wasn't even born. Really? Did I need to know that? But yeah, lots of good things have happened in that time. So thanks so much for a great piece. Really enjoyed it.
Thank you for doing it. Great chatting with you. Anne, nice to meet you. Thank you. All right. Take care, Stephanie. Best wishes.
Take care.